Nerd Skool is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network, powered by Ortho Carolina. Now offering video visits, so you can take control of your orthopedic care from the comfort of your home. Schedule online at orthocarolina.com. Ortho Carolina, you improve.
Hey, fellows. It's the first night of another season.
Nerds roll.
Oh, my glasses are broken. And this will begin season 2 of Nerd Skool.
Welcome back to season 2, Nerd High. Glad to have you.
It's gonna be crazy stunts. We're gonna there's gonna be stunts.
Joe's gonna bring more penis jokes.
A lot of penis stuff.
I am a super nerd.
The Nerd Skool Podcast.
Starring Andy,
Star Spangled Band with a plan.
Maybe I'll try to do a cartwheel.
TBJ.
Well, congratulations. You did dirt. Ta-da. I ain't got no shame. All my exes can tune in. We can have an episode where I compare them to all the Marvel villains. We can do that.
Art Star.
I don't love Wiener.
I'm just trying to make money.
Lord Artemis Prime.
No.
Yeah, my real name is Joe. Did I ever tell you about the time I hung out with DMC at Mertz?
The Nerd Skool Podcast.
All right, jumping to the council scene with Robert Redford as Alexander Pierce. I don't know. We already kind of talked about that a little bit. My big question was, I know this must be an important character because it's played by Robert freaking Redford.
Yeah, but Alexander Pierce is definitely not that important character in the comic books. He's just kind of a guy who works with Nick Fury for like there's barely anything about him, but he doesn't look like Robert Redford at all. He looks more like the Winter Soldier.
I feel like there must be a guy. I feel like TBJ's talked about this before. People in charge of continuity or whatever, a guy or a girl that's in charge of just scouring old comics to find characters who maybe appeared one time in one panel that has a name, and you give it to the Kevin Feige or whatever. Okay, you need somebody, and then they're like writing the script, and they're being like, "Oh, I need a Shield guy, just some name that was in the Alexander Pierce." Okay, that's his character's name.
I'll tell you,
if Marvel ever lets me in behind the scenes, I'll get answers for you. I've been asking.
Marvel's.
We need to get you an internship, and then you work your way in.
There you go, an internship.
That'll work because nobody who's ever met TBJ didn't instantly love TBJ. So she'll be an intern.
Well, there are some people, Joe. I know it's hard to believe.
Well, those people are dead. Those people
who instantly met me and decided, no, thank you. We don't talk about them, but they exist.
They exist.
But there's a Marvel Comics editor named Tom Brevoort who is basically an encyclopedic knowledge. So I'm sure they have access to him.
What's his name?
Tom Brevoort.
Tom Brevoort, get on the horn. Tom Brevoort, y'all. Do you think we get him on the Nerd Skool podcast?
It'd take a while.
You ever talked to
his
Tom
money
Brevoort?
might be too big for us.
Tom Brevoort?
I don't think I've ever.
Do you know that these guys that we don't know probably get paid plenty of money to just house knowledge and keep
dollar bills, y'all? Is Tom Brevoort gonna put out a hip hop album anytime soon?
No, there's certain writers that are encyclopedic. There's a writer named Kurt Busiek who is really good. He did a lot of Avengers writing, and just he knew the minutia all the time.
Yeah, you really know all. How do you know all this?
There's a writer named Dan Slott who did Spider-Man stuff.
Dan Slott.
I did actually get to meet him and interview him before.
Really? Did you high five with him?
He hung out with us for like 2 hours and did a podcast.
Really?
Talking about Spider-Man. He was doing a great.
Nice.
Dan Slott did
huge run on Amazing Spider-Man.
Shout out to Dan Slott.
Yeah, he's awesome.
So, do you guys? Is that impressive?
Rob Liefeld.
Except Rob Liefeld.
Whisper away from Rob Liefeld.
So, Art Star, are you impressed knowing Andy's met Dan Slott? Does that impress you?
He's currently writing Fantastic Four.
He's not that impressed.
Wow, Art, that was.
I don't necessarily get starstruck anyway, so it's not
that's a heck of a pause there, Art.
Dude,
I was behind Cam Newton and Walgreens one time, and I was like, "What's the big fucking deal?"
Oh, boom!
So you're saying you're just a natural born hater?
Are you saying you're a better quarterback?
Being a natural born hater. I look at it like this:
you don't have to fangirl them, but you can.
We all bleed the same blood. That's the way I look at things. We all bleed the same blood. So
Art Star is saying he's a better quarterback than Cam Newton.
Yeah, apparently. You can meet people and acknowledge their talents You don't have.
I'm not. I acknowledge your talents to me. Like, oh, you're a very good person. You're a very good person. Just because I meet you, like you could be the greatest person in the world. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say, hey, how you doing? Keep it moving. I'm gonna go like, oh shit, I just met the greatest person in the world. Who gives a fuck? That's the way I look at things.
Y'all, I just want listeners to understand the hateration in this damn.
Can I say something?
He's a Sith Lord.
As people who are in the theater world, you guys we've seen and met a lot of quote unquote people. Did you run behind them like, oh shit?
But I'm saying you don't have to run behind them, but I don't ever go, what's the big deal? I go, oh, they're so and so. Oh my God, they are really talented at that thing. And then I go by my business, but I acknowledge in my inner monologue, like,
no,
I got to see Dave Chappelle smoke a bunch of weed.
I'll acknowledge,
right?
But it's like Joe's question was, does it excite me that Andy met Dan Slott?
Do you get a nerd boner? Is the question?
No, I don't. That's what I'm saying. I don't. It's like
Art doesn't care about anybody.
Great. Just because you are great doesn't mean I have to, and absorb your aura.
So you can't come to my house when the Hemsworth brothers are hanging out. I will not invite Art over when I'm with the Hemsworth brothers. Okay.
See what I'm saying? Like, oh, hey, what's up? What's up, Chris? What's up?
I don't even want you to hey, what's up them.
How's it going?
I don't know.
Where the drinks at?
No.
Where the drinks at?
I got a 1 drink minimum. That's all I can get. 1 drink maximum.
We know you can not even 1 whole drink. You got a half a drink.
All right, I'm pouring a new drink. Speaking of drinks, can we talk about the Nick Fury's Google Glass windshield?
His smart car.
His smart car.
Yeah. That's one thing I really like. This movie.
Well, it's a shield vehicle. All shield land vehicles can fly.
Except this one couldn't because it was damaged.
It was damaged.
What's not damaged?
What's not damaged?
The air conditioner.
The air conditioning.
That's Sam Jackson being 100% Sam Jackson in that scene, and I loved it.
Air conditioning fully operational.
Yeah, this scene, the Nick Fury's assassination attempt scene, kind of speaks to why this movie still this movie is considered one of the best of the entire MCU.
Can you hand me that paper towel real quick?
Sure.
Sorry, I spilled beer. Yeah, but it is. This is considered one of the best of the entire.
Yeah,
it was good.
Ranks this as top 3 in
really
MCU total, because it's the most grounded and it feels.
No, talking to the microphone. Just looks straight ahead.
Well, this thing keeps drooping.
Oh, okay. Take your shirt off.
All right.
We're not that kind of show.
I was talking to Art.
Or we can get an OnlyFans and start getting paid for it. Well, I'm okay if Andy wants to show his body, but we profit off of this.
Well, Art,
we don't give it away for free.
All right, so this movie is the best.
It's a lot. It's considered the best because, it's the Russo's first thing. It kind of showed them what they could do.
So do they direct more Marvel?
Oh yeah,
movies later. Okay.
They direct 2 of the biggest ones, and they direct 3 of the biggest ones: Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. And so,
are they known for any other movies outside of Marvel besides Community, like you said? Sorry to throw that at you.
They just did a recent one.
I'll look it up while you talk. Tell us more about why this.
Just so this movie works. I don't know what it is. I still watched it today and last night. It's still tense. It's still exciting. No one has lightning that can blow all the problems away. No one has repulsors to zap anybody. No one can fly. Well, Falcon can fly, but we don't know that until.
But with technology, I know.
Yeah,
what you mean.
but this is mostly human people that are. If you stab them, they will die. If you shoot them, they will hurt. I guess maybe they won't die. But they get stabbed and shot and beat up and broken, and
beat
it's
up
all
and broken.
It's human level activity. The score. I was gonna look up the composer. The score is all the fight scenes are tense. The music that comes with it really it doesn't make it dun, 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 dun. It's all these really in Dark Knight. Whenever Joker is about to show up, they have this buzzing noise, oh shit, something's gonna happen. There's a lot of that in here. I was noticing this time. Just the fights are tough, brutal, and hard. No one wins easily.
Yeah.
Even against Batroc, that's a fight. And another, just all right, I'm jumping around a little bit, but when this movie starts, Captain America jumps onto the boat
right away
and
just kicks the shit out of everybody,
murdering people,
just
He's
destroying. Yeah,
he's
just destroying,
knocking them off the boat to drown.
But it all does establish what a bad, like they needed to really establish Cap as a badass.
Right.
I mean, I know that
just, and I know, like, but like some old school comic nerds are gonna like bristle a bit just because for the longest time
he's
in
not
Marvel,
supposed to murder.
Heroes don't
murder.
That's what like makes the Punisher different. But it's like so many times storylines are built on, you know, comic heroes finding ways not to kill. That's why like Man of Steel hurt so much when Superman kills Zod at the end.
Yeah,
it's like, fuck, that's not super, like guys like Superman do it, but this is like Captain America, you kind of feel like he shouldn't, but also it emphasizes he's a soldier. He
soldiers kill,
literally a whole ass soldier
in a war, and this is the same kind of shit, international like hostage situation. He's not going to hold back. He's going to knock dudes into the water to drown. He's going to break people's necks. He's going to do what he's got to do to get the mission done, which you know, even dirties him up a little bit. Like there's a bit where Nick Fury says, I read your SSR files, you guys did some nasty shit, and he's like, yeah, we didn't sleep so well, but we did it for freedom. This is fear. That whole bit. So he's Captain America is idealist, but he's not clean entirely.
Real quick, the Russos did Donkey Punch, Car Fuckers,
Arrested Development. They did some Arrested Development.
You, Me, and Dupree, something called Donkey Punch, and something called Car Fuckers.
What the hell?
Happy endings, whatever that is.
That was a great sitcom.
It's a TV show, isn't that?
With David Wayne Jr. Yeah.
Animal Practice. Anyway, so
but it's just like everything is real, everything is tense, like it feels very grounded as much as a superhero movie can.
Yeah.
And it's dealing in like the real muck of human, you know, issues. Like
I was just gonna piggyback off Andy. I think one of the reasons this works, one, it was well acted by everybody. Well acted. Two, this is one of those movies that everyone can relate to. This is why I think it's one of the best, because this is a problem that can happen in your world. It doesn't have to do with an alien invading you. It is human people doing some shitty shit and some other humans cutting it out, right?
Man.
It resonated with the audience as a whole because, yes, all the other superheroes are cool. You don't have a soft spot for heroes who are just human. And this movie did that. And again, just some badass acting.
Well, just the Scarlett Johansson, Chris Evans, that whole bit where they're like together, the Hubba Bubba thing in the vending machine, just the way they did that with the thing's gone, the chip thing's gone, and she's chewing the bubble gum, and then their mall flirty thing and her kissing him, and that whole bit was just cool. And then the guy, I have been Aaron, the bearded guy, who you guys look exactly this. You guys are twins, you know, whatever it is. Like that whole bit. And that guy I just saw on another show. Amy was watching the comedy show he was on. But, if you need anything, I've been Aaron. Like that whole bit, all of that establishes these guys as characters, and they're good actors that do this. They do this tongue-in-cheek, silly, fun stuff so well.
Good banter.
Good banter.
But in this movie, it didn't overpower things. Some other movies, it sort of takes away from the momentum of the tension of the plot. But this one was there, but it felt more like tension, like relief for the characters, as opposed to I need my funny lines.
Okay.
Yeah, it gave them moments to step out of reality. Right, this crazy bad things happening. Just like when she's still joking about him dating on that bridge, and he was like, "Can we focus on this?" And she's like, "I'm multitasking."
Multitasking. Yeah, that's so great.
Yeah, it's a moment where people are shooting at us, but a little levity, because when you're in the dirt, you might need a little bits of sun to, like, you know, not be depressed about being shot. But
and another reason this Nick Fury scene works, where like they corner him and they're prepared to deal with his smart car. They target him. They do all this shit. They have all this shit ready to go. And Nick Fury, he's fucked up immediately because he just kind of noticed there's something might be wrong.
Yeah.
He doesn't realize everyone's on him,
Everybody's
waiting
out
for
to
him
kill
to
him,
notice,
yeah.
so they know when they have to kill him. And then, another thing is, like, Nick Fury doesn't have his own movie franchise.
Yeah.
They could kill him. He could have died in this.
Yeah.
And which is why, like, when they do have him die in this, you half believe, you know what, he might be dead in this.
Yeah, I really thought he
the
was.
punch for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you were coming into this for the first time, you would believe it was there.
Yeah, because he doesn't. He's one of the guys that could be sacrificed and killed, even though he's Sam Jackson and he's awesome. You could do that if you wanted to have a major punch. And
well, I feel like that whole scene established that he's pretty fucking badass too. He took a lot of damage, and you know, I was like, he's got to be a superhero. I know we find out later,
but he's just a man with the car and the eye patch, Jeff.
No, he's a badass. He doesn't shoot bows and arrows, so he's a badass.
but he's also a spy that, like, and I like Nick Fury is very humanized in this, in that, like, even from the beginning, Captain America is sick of being Nick Fury's janitor. So, which it's like him saying, I'm sick of cleaning up messes that Nick Fury makes.
Yeah.
And Nick Fury's operations are going wrong. I have to clean them up. I'm getting sick of that, which is part of why Captain America is getting sick of working for S.H.I.E.L.D. because he doesn't, he feels like
they've lost their way.
They're doing shit wrong, and he has to clean up. Right. But yeah, this scene is really awesome and really well planned out, I thought.
Okay, so we've kind of like bounced around a lot of this stuff. A lot of my next notes we've already kind of covered with the escalator kiss and the Apple Store. I've been Aaron guy and the Hubba Pubba Scarjo thing.
But I remember in Falcon Winter Soldier, you didn't like Bucky much.
Yeah,
you were mad at Bucky, but this.
Well, he went Bucky, in as a hater of Bucky from jump.
So this introduces the Winter Soldier as like this silent badass.
He's a little more badass.
That's dangerous.
You're just gonna hate him because you're holding on to your hate. You're pulling an art style. Wow. This is too much hateration.
You're pulling an art style.
Yeah, well, I made you a verb.
I gotta say, I hated Bucky from when I read comics when I was a kid, and he seemed like this dipshit, like Robin. The reason I hate Robin is why I hated Bucky. So you're right. Winter Soldier is badass and this metal guy, but again, I'll go back to the same thing with Anthony Mackie. Why, when I watched the beginning of this movie, I was like, yes, I love him. I've grown to like Bucky because of the Falcon and Winter Soldier show, because that's so well done. And you have built these characters and their buds, and, you know, and I've seen his struggle, and that the whole scene with that old man at the bar, and, you know, that has made me care about him. And so, right. You've won me over. I don't know, like TBJ is one, but I do. Yeah, I like him more in this. And I'm like, yeah, he is badass. Oh, and I just want him, like, that's your friend. That's your friend. See him, you know, whatever. You're gonna be best buds with Falcon soon, you know, like.
But that's some of that, again, good acting, right? Like,
it's good acting. He's a good actor.
Silently stalking and ready to kill you. And then I have to emote on the wait, something's up. What's happening?
Yeah, and in this you see, you know, their first meeting with Falcon and Winter Soldier is trying to kill him, like rips up his, you know, his backpack and throws it off and tries to kill him. So you can kind of see why they don't like each other. And at one point, Sam's like, I think you might have to kill this guy. I don't think he's the kind of guy you save. He's the kind of guy you stop.
You kill him, yeah.
And so, like, right from the get-go, I mean, no one probably would have seen that we're gonna have a buddy series starring
with those two
guys, right?
But Falcon was buddy series. Falcon was so badass in this too. His flying, like, they really established that he's awesome when he flew through that plane and stopped those missiles. Like, that was really cool.
The first time I remember being in the theater the first time watching this movie and just seeing how awesome they made Falcon seem.
Yeah, it was so cool. It's like, you want more Falcon immediately, and then he tears his wings up. You're like, no, fuck, there's got to be more of those. Shit, he just started doing it, but luckily,
and my favorite one line when he's like telling them he's ready to partner with them, and he shows the pictures, and Cap's like, I thought you were a pilot. He said, I never said I was a pilot.
Yeah,
that's also one of my other favorite lines.
Oh, and I like my other favorite line.
My favorite line is when he screams, he's like, 41st floor. I said, the 41st floor.
He had some good ones. After Captain's speech, he goes,
not like the numbers are on the outside of the building.
Yeah. Even after Cap's speech, he's like, did you write that down? Because, like, they gave Mackie some good lines.
I think my favorite Anthony Mackie line was, "I'm like, don't look at me. I'm like him, only slower." That was great.
The fact that we all had one Anthony Mackie line to quote in this movie means they did the damn thing.
Well, and I felt like that was a preview because he's gonna be Captain America. I'm like him, only slower. Like he's gonna be Cap.
I kind of like Rumlow's trying to give him a big tough guy speech, and he's just shut the
hell up, man. I love that. He just shut up. All right, so we're gonna fast forward through a little bit. We're gonna a little bit more to cover Arnhem Zola and the computer-based thing. They get to that old base.
Yeah, this is what initially blew my mind because I'm a fan of the weirdos, the weird characters, and there ain't a weirder character in Marvel Comics than fucking Arnhem Zola.
Exactly.
A weird Nazi scientist who at one point actually cloned or basically took the mind of Adolf Hitler, put him in a clone body that called itself the Hate Monger, and was basically wore a purple Klan hood and was a villain and that people had to fight.
That was in comics?
That was in comics. And Jack Kirby, very prominent Nazi hater, guy who actually fought Nazis in World War II, wrote that story.
Wait, Jack Kirby actually fought Nazis?
Yeah, Jack Kirby.
He probably said that.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he was actually Jewish as well. I might be incorrect, but there was, and this was still like only 20 years removed from World War II when he was doing this shit.
God, although I think this so much on this episode.
1977. Yeah, Arnhem Zola first appeared 1977 in Captain America and the Falcon number 208. Jack Kirby wrote and drew that. But Arnhem Zola was Red Skull's or a scientist in the Nazi Hydra regime that eventually transferred his body into a weird ass robot that had like his face was on a monitor and then his head was a little camera, and he walked around in a robot body doing evil, dumb, weird, mad scientist shit. And it's like the silliest looking thing. So when he was introduced in the first Avenger, I was like, all right, that's Arnhem Zola. That's a head nod to Arnhem Zola. They're not going to do the full Zola, but this is fine.
They went the full Zola, Andy.
About 75% Zola, way more Zola than I thought they were ever going to do.
Yeah.
Is that in that scene, his face is on a monitor. He's got a little camera above his head.
Yeah.
He doesn't have arms and legs. That's why it's not the full Zola. But it's enough tribute to that batshit Zola, and it was fucking creepy and good and effective that excuse me, he was like the architect of this whole thing. He created
Pop quiz, Joe. Pop quiz.
Yes.
Do you remember what we seen this at before? Well, not before, since then, even though it will be before.
Yeah, so
let's see if he remembers. It was recently.
It's got to be in one of these shows we watched, because I feel like there was I remember taking a note of, it's like he's like in the magnifying glass, or I don't know, something where they've done that thing where he's the screen inside the body or whatever, but I don't remember what it was from. WandaVision, maybe?
What if?
Oh, what if? Right.
He was like, they were using him to try to fight Ultron when Ultron kind of got overpowered. They thought Zola could infiltrate Ultron's programming and stop him. Oh gosh,
yeah. I guess that sounds.
So they used the
USB arrow from Hawkeye.
Gotta
upload them into create a virus for.
Yeah,
I'll have to watch whatever.
But it was so, and apparently, this was something that Alexander Pierce was consulting on a regular basis. Arnhem Zola in this fucking dingy ass basement was that just made me happy at the time. This fucking batshit Jack Kirby idea. This is as close as it needs to get. It doesn't need to have arms and legs and be a robot that walks around. But was like the best way to pay tribute to what Arnhem Zola actually is in the comics.
Okay. And then we get the shield attack. I have the asset in my notes. Get the asset. I think was Winter Soldier was the asset.
Yeah. And
then Pierce kills Renata. That upset me that he had to kill Renata. But I guess that's just established that he's the bad guy.
Yeah. If talking to the Winter Soldier in the dark wasn't enough.
He's like, "Oh, Renata, I wish you hadn't come back.
I wish you'd knocked."
Yeah, like she came back to get her keys or whatever.
That scene made me very sad. I'm
Yeah, it
sorry.
was. Yeah, it was.
You know, you could have handled that without killing your housekeeper. Just
Yeah, Renata didn't have to die.
Renata ain't about to go tell nobody. Listen,
Like she didn't already know he was an evil fucking guy.
you telling me she's around your house and she had no clue you're a dipshit?
Well, he's fucking Robert Redford. He's a charming fuck. We've watched him be charming and talk shit to the World Council and say something snappy all the time. He was Nick Fury's best friend. Like Nick Fury would have taken a bullet for him. He can fool motherfuckers.
And shout out to Robert Redford. Like he's been married to people. Like is he dead now? I think he died.
No,
he's still alive.
No, Robert Redford.
He's like 80 something, but he marries people generally his own age, and like he's Robert Redford. No,
are you giving him props for not being problematic as?
Yeah, I mean maybe. I mean his wife I think is 20 years younger than him, but he's 80 and she's 65 or whatever. But I just was surprised because I remember growing up as a kid, and everybody was like, Robert Redford is like my parents would use him as an example of like the most attractive person. Well, I'm not Robert Redford, or he wasn't Robert Redford. And he's just married to like a normal looking lady, and like he could probably be married to a 25-year-old supermodel if he wanted to. So good job.
Yeah,
Robert.
but that's called I actually love my wife.
Yeah.
You know who gets a lot of shit for their wife, and it makes me so mad, is Hugh Jackman. His wife a little older than him.
Oh, really? Good for him.
Not really Hollywoodish. She was an actor in Australia. She was a more famous one when they met, but like people talk so much shit about her. Like she's been at awards and she says, I will go to the bathroom and people are talking ish about me because she's not Hollywood type.
Because she's not Hollywood beautiful or whatever.
Yeah, and she's older than him, and they're like, he can do so much better. Girl, his heart is with his wife. That's better, and they've been decades.
That's good. So shout out to him too.
Yeah, he's sticking with it.
And then he's got COVID, so hopefully gets better.
So is Sam Jackson, by the way. Sam Jackson's wife.
Yeah, his wife too. We've talked about.
They've been married for a very, very long time, and she's on TV and screens too.
Okay, we see we go to Falcon's house. I don't. Oh, that's the bit where Cap and ScarJo have to go to Falcon's house.
I'm sorry. Everyone we know is trying to kill us. We need a place to live.
We need to go to your house. Then we got Sitwell, rooftop, Lillian from accounting with lip piercing.
Yeah.
Scene. Whereas where Sitwell's they're trying to get are you going to throw me off the edge of the thing? You're not going to do that. Yeah, but she will.
I like how in this when they mentioned, just to me, it was like, I don't want to say telegraphing. What's the word I want to say? He was
foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing, right. The fact that he name dropped Stephen Strange.
Yeah, that's the
like,
yeah.
This time,
That's what I was going to ask you guys. Did we already know? Like, this is the first time we hear Stephen Strange, right?
Correct.
Right.
That was my actual question. It's like listing threats. Is this the first mention of Stephen Strange? So I'm glad you Art Stars. He's reading my brain.
Unless you count Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2, in which they're trying to figure out what they're going to nickname Dr. Octopus, and one of them suggests Dr. Strange, and he goes, "That's good, but it's taken." With J. Jonah Jameson saying that, but that's not well.
Dr. Strange is also mentioned when they have all the threats, when the thing's up in the air and they're like identifying all the threats. I like slowed that down, and then I looked on Google and somebody already like listed all the names they show, and it's Dr. Strange.
Who did they beat for the Avengers Tower?
Tony Stark, I would say.
Yeah, Tony Stark. Tony Stark was on there, and a couple of these other people. I Googled their name. I was like, "Is this somebody? Is this somebody?" Like, I have a whole list of these guys. Like, and I was going to ask you guys all these names, but then I found a website that was like, yes, here's everybody they mentioned, and they are all people from comics that are, here and there, whatever. Like, okay.
Give us some names, Joe. You said it. Give us some names. Lean
well,
into your nerddom. Give us names.
What is it? What was the operation called? Operation.
So don't make his brain hurt, man. Don't make his brain hurt.
Bruce Banner, Peggy Carter, Nick Fury, Victoria Hand.
Oh, she was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show.
Jim Morita.
Yep.
Roberto Gonzalez. President Ellis, Maria Hill. All these lieutenants and things. Colonel James Rhodes. Rhodey.
From Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I'm trying to think. Civilians were Michael Linden. That was the one they show. It was like he's like a coach. Jeremy Irons. David Chalmers.
Superintendent Chalmers.
Tramlow, Humley.
Skinner.
We're gonna assassinate Superintendent Chalmers.
Stephen Strange is on the list. Elizabeth Franz, Stone Jones. I don't know if these are people.
All right, this isn't going anywhere.
Anyway,
Let's
it's
go.
not going anywhere. So let's go back to okay, back to Lillian from accounting. Oh, she's got a lip piercing. I'm not really into that.
I'm not really ready for that.
I want Lillian from accounting to be in the show.
Even Steve Rogers is like, I'm open to that. Like
not ready
he's
for
old timey. He's not ready.
He's
for
like,
it.
I'm not there yet. Yeah, he's not. He's
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
So he's not saying I don't agree with that. As
Yeah.
most people transplants from the 1940s probably would. He's Steve Rogers. I'm not ready for that.
Okay, and now we're finally to the awesome battle in the streets. We've already talked about a lot of these battles. The battle in the street was so awesome.
Yeah.
Throwing
Yeah.
car doors and all, like in the car when they pull the guy out of the car. Oh, and Winter Soldier pulls Sitwell out and just kills him. Just throws him.
That's like, oh,
And then they all go
That's so, like,
flying, and then the battle, and then Natasha.
Would you expect a major, like basically a major speaking role character in this movie to be killed like that?
Yeah,
Just yanked out of the back seat and thrown into
tossed,
oncoming
and we
traffic.
never see him again. Yeah,
And no one mentions anything. No one cares about that he's dead because he's a bad guy.
I just wrote Natasha is exhausting. Just like her when she's running and running and running. I was just in my head. I was like, I would be completely exhausted. I'd be passed out. I wouldn't have survived because she just keeps running and running and then kicking more ass. And then she gets shot.
I would like to. This is a good time to note. Like, there's a bit in this scene where like she fights him, and like I think she said something. He didn't even remember me or something like that, because she told the story about how she ran into him before and got shot through her abdomen and bye bikinis.
Oh yeah. Bye bikinis
during the thing. Yeah. And
yeah.
I think
I'm sure you'll look terrible in them.
Yeah. And she's like fighting him now. I think she says at one point, at least he could have remembered me or something like that.
Oh.
In the comics, Bucky and Natasha are a long-term couple.
Oh, really?
Because in the comics, Natasha is kind of just in the same Winter Soldier boat. She's been born decades ago.
All right.
They just kept kind of suspending animation, like
really?
reasons to like Bucky helped train her in the first place back in the day in the Soviet program.
Okay.
And like, Black Widows are kind of they like a really tightly controlled program of assassins and stuff too. So but they've got a long history together, and they were a big romantic item for a long time in the comics until I think they had some storyline where like she had to wipe her own memory to save her life or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then we get Hill. Hill shows up and saves the day.
I just love seeing her in the MCU. Like, I know she does other things, but in my brain, all I can think about is How I Met Your Mother. So every time she shows up in the MCU, I'm like, yeah.
Oh, she's on that?
Yep.
Yeah.
She was in love with Doogie Howser a lot on that show.
Okay. And then we find Samuel L. Jackson's alive thanks to tetrodotoxin D. And I just Googled that, and that is something that's been used clinically to relieve the headache associated with heroin withdrawal.
Oh, how about that?
Oh.
So there you go. But that's not with the D. That's just tetrodotoxin.
Okay.
Does tetrodotoxin stop the heart? Yeah, I guess it. I'm not sure. Who cares?
Yeah.
But that was kind of cool. I was like, I totally forgot that. I knew he was still alive, but I didn't know if he was I couldn't remember. And then we get to Bucky, the whole thing, and I started thinking like, Bucky was frozen too. Why were they both frozen? How come only two people in the history of the universe have been frozen and they happen to know each other and be buds from 1945? Like, don't you think at this point, if we knew we could just freeze people, like be a million
Cap
people
wasn't frozen on purpose. They didn't decide to freeze Captain America,
right?
But chosen freeze. So technically, they chose. The scientists only experimented on freezing one person.
It just happened to be the two people in history that have been frozen know each other. It's the same two.
Yeah.
guys.
Wait till you see Civil War. It's more than just those two.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's also accurate.
All right. Well, you shut me down pretty good with that.
Yep. Fuck you.
Yeah. Then we get Abed. We're very excited about that. We're talking about Abed. And the Cap speech. about Hydra versus Shield where he gets on the thing, and I love that Anthony Mackie was like, "Did you just make that up?
Did you write that down beforehand?"
That's really, and he doesn't answer because
Captain America inspires hope, so it's one that's his
he's used to speeches. Yeah, that's what he does.
I like that. He's there to tear Shield and Hydra down, both of them, but he's aware of Nick Fury's argument, like it's not entirely Hydra.
Right.
There's a lot of good Shield agents, so he plays on that. It's part of his plan. Let's get on the loudspeaker.
And we'll find out who the good guys are.
Chaos.
Yeah.
And pit them against each other. And
it was cool. It was a neat thing to happen. Then you couldn't wait to see what happens. Like who turns on who.
Yeah.
And I loved
the little nerd guy who was like, I'm shitting my pants, but I'm not going to do this.
I'm not going to do this thing. And you don't know how to do it because you're not a super nerd like me. So and he almost died. And then I love Natasha's little thing where she's the old lady. Takes her mask. I'm sorry. Did I step on your moment? Like that was awesome. And then in my notes I have Falcon kicks ass till he loses his wings. Makes me want to rewatch Falcon and Winter Soldier. Oh, can we here?
Hold on. Let's pause to let the dog inside the house.
Yeah.
Hey nerds, check out the Gruff and Loud show on YouTube.
Well, another thing I've never heard of before until now is outsider house music, so I had to kind of look it up. And so it is also referred to as lo-fi house, raw house, or outsider dance. You've heard of lo-fi house?
I fucking subscribe to like 3 different lo-fi channels.
I
fucking love me some lo-fi shit, yo.
So we are getting into the weeds here. This is a micro genre of electronic music.
Nice.
And I'm learning so much right now. Like I've never known anything about how. Like I don't understand trap music. I don't understand electronic. I've never listened to any of it.
I have.
I'm in a pool.
Oh, I love your pool, dude. I'm jumping in.
That I'm in right now, and I would have never in my life gone to this pool willingly.
I'm waiting in here, dude. I got some CDs already.
The G.I. Joe character I was a fan of as a child has led me to this pool. That's the great thing about where the internet is right now. I'm in the pool. I'm not sure I'm comfortable in the pool.
It's okay.
I don't know about this pool.
You don't have to be comfortable in the pool.
I'm not sure how deep the pool is. I'm not sure what this consistency is. Is this even water? Is there too many chemicals? I don't know what this is.
There are too many chemicals. It is water, and it is kind of chunky. It's okay. You don't have to feel comfortable, and you can get out and rinse yourself off at any time, sir. I'm happy you're in here.
Check out the Gruff and Loud show on YouTube.
And then I got armed Bernie jackets. The jackets that he just pushed a button and everybody started burning.
No, it was the little pins that they like when he handed out these will give you unrestricted access.
Oh, those pins are what burned them.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say, why didn't he just do that when she started kicking everybody's ass? Why didn't he just burn everybody?
I don't know.
I don't think it was sitting on the desk. If I remember the scene correctly, it was.
He kind of looked so ready, right?
Yeah, he moved to it later.
He didn't have a trigger.
So maybe he wanted to have it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Cap choke slams Bucky. It was a choke slam from WWE, and it was a good amount of wrestling.
Last ride to hell.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. Now we get to the targets. I was like, Marcus Bledsoe, who's that? That was the first target I saw, and that's somebody in comics, I guess, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
And then Project Insight goes bye.
Yep, I like that they just retargeted to just blow the shit out of each other as opposed to everybody else.
That was kind of cool. Like all the,
that was nice to see.
And all the vehicles destroy each other except the one that Cap happens to be on. We got the 41st floor bit. Not like they put the numbers on the outside of the building. I said 41st floor. Like they don't put the numbers on the outside of the building. Asshole. That's fun. End of the line. Oh, that's the whole end of the line bit where
it's what they used to say to each other when they were younger.
Yeah, and he snaps Bucky out of it by saying, I'm with you.
Well, not all the way out of it. He makes his brain tingle a little bit. Enough to be like, wait a minute.
That sounds dirty. And then we get Marvin Gaye's Trouble Man.
I keep meaning to actually listen to that album I haven't heard that. I've got a Marvin Gaye's Greatest Hits.
Well, that's what I want to listen to just to see, like, does it really tell you everything you need to know from 1945 to 1970, whatever? And then they show, this is what you already answered this. That was Rumlow at the end. They show this guy, his charred body getting saved. And I was like, was that Rumlow?
Yeah.
And so that's going to be the white supremacist Crossbones.
Yeah. Although
he'll be in Civil War.
He'll be in Civil War, but they don't really get into it like white supremacy.
Does he look like Crossbones though?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
He's got the mask and he's got the superhero.
And you guys know that's Rumlow? Like everybody knows that's Rumlow? Or
yeah. He makes a point of it.
Oh, he does? Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Sharon Carter, they have her a little bit, and I wanted to ask, and I think I know, is this the first we hear of her name being Sharon?
Yeah.
At this point?
I think so.
And do nerds know it's Sharon Carter already? Like,
yeah.
Did nerds know when she was the nurse across the hall? They knew that was Sharon Carter?
It was like, I mean, if you're nerd enough to know who was cast as what, probably, but it was like, and it's not long after she's a nurse in the hall that she announces that she is Agent 13. Once they say Agent 13,
that's what triggers you guys to know who that is.
Yeah,
Agent 13 is Sharon Carter,
and plus
Agent 19 is Mockingbird.
Right.
How many of these agent numbers are there that you got to learn?
22. That's it.
You guys know 22 agents?
No, I'm kidding. I don't know any of them.
Ain't nobody memorizing numbers over here.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
But like Agent 19, I wouldn't have known if because Mockingbird, like she's a Mockingbird, she's an Avenger, she's Hawkeye's wife. That guy, I know her in that way.
So you only know Agent 13 and Agent 19?
Because Sharon Carter doesn't really have another superhero identity. She's an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. And like she's a longtime Captain America love interest as well. I mean, Peggy Carter was kind of in the comics was sort of just back in World War II, and that was it. In the decades of Captain America being in the modern world, Sharon Carter was one of his long.
Oh, do you guys know that Peggy's getting her own book?
Oh yeah, like the Peggy Carter from What If, basically.
Yep.
Oh really? When she becomes the
Captain Carter.
Captain
Carter.
She's not quite Cockney, but
I don't know. That's the only British accent I can do.
That's a bit extreme.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Let's not.
All right. Here's a whole list of notable agents pre-Civil War: Agent 22, Agent 74, Agent M in the Microverse, Agent Boyer. Okay, we won't.
This isn't going anywhere either.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere. Okay, a couple more things. Sammy J says at the end, some rats didn't go down with the ship. So we need you. I could use you.
He's going after some more Hydra motherfuckers, and he's probably going to do it S.H.I.E.L.D. style. So like this is where I was like, Nick Fury like goes along with Cap's plan at the time because he doesn't have options. But now that it's done and everything's torn apart, he's still going to go about trying to salvage shit.
There's a bug in my beer.
Good job, idiot.
It might be Ant-Man, so I can't keep it.
But like Nick Fury's still going to do his thing. He's just going to do it.
But there's no specific rats in future movies that he's talking about.
Well, Crossbones is still kicking.
Oh
He
yeah,
can go down.
Right.
Then there's other Hydra agents, and then at the beginning of Agents of Ultron, I mean, we see some more rats at the end of this movie in the post-credits scene.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you next about the post-credits scene.
Yeah, that's where
we see Wanda for the first time, right?
Yeah.
Is this the first time we see her?
Correct.
And
the age of miracles.
Wanda and Zippy.
Quicksilver.
Zippy, I think is his name, right?
Yeah, his name
twins.
is Zippy. No, he's the Wizard, which is actually a Marvel Comics character.
Is it really the Wizard?
No, it's Quicksilver.
So they in the post-credit scene they say, "Herr Strucker." Herr Strucker. Is Strucker an actual
Baron Wolfgang von Strucker is he's a Nazi dude, a longtime Hydra commander, supreme commander. He's obsessed with like getting this thing called the Claw of Horus and the Infinity Formula, I believe, that keeps Nick Fury, the original OG cigar chomping white dude Nick Fury, alive for decades. He's a major Nick Fury villain and a Captain America villain.
Does he show up in the MCU later too?
I mean, this is his first appearance, and it's sort of promised that they're going to do a lot more. But when next we meet him, they're like, okay, they're not going to do a whole lot with him.
Okay,
but he has some long-lasting relevance because of he's experimenting on Wanda and Pietro Maximoff.
Yeah,
he's like, and the thing I mentioned at the beginning, I wanted to come back around to was
Some swordsman.
In the comics, Baron Strucker, I think it was an interesting choice to have him have the twins because he actually has children that are twins.
Okay.
Andrea and Andreas von Strucker, who call themselves Fenris, which just means wolf in Norse mythology. And that it's just weird that they only have powers when they're holding hands. Like they can fly and shoot lasers.
Like Moss and Minas in the DC universe.
Kind of like that, except at one point, Andrea Strucker is killed. So the surviving twin like takes some skin from her corpse and makes it into like a sword hilt, so he can still use the powers.
That is creepy AF.
Yes, it is. But these are also Nazis we're talking about. That's they trade. But this guy becomes the swordsman. Not is a different swordsman. He's not the one from Hawkeye.
This swordsman.
He's not Jacques Duquesne, but he takes the name, the swordsman. He's using a sword and he can shoot lasers through it and shit.
In Marvel Universe, there's 2 swordsmen.
Yeah, so the fact that he's got twins here,
yeah,
is I think kind of a sly nod to the fact that he had twins in the books as well.
Okay, and so in this post-credit scene, we see the twins and that scepter, right? That Loki has
scepter, yeah.
Later, this is the first time we see that.
Well, we saw that in Avengers.
Oh, we already saw that. I can't remember now when we saw that. Oh gosh, so much. My brain is like swimming and barely understanding this. So, but that's why I decided before I was told you guys I was going to do, you guys suggest, I think TBJ suggested watch it one time just to watch it and enjoy it, and then watch it and write down your questions. But I decided I'm going to switch that up a little bit. I watched it one time, taking notes, and now after you guys teaching me, I'm going to watch it again with your knowledge and enjoy it. And just see if
that works too.
Yeah, so that might be that way. Like after I talk to you guys and see if it comes up. But
yeah, more.
It's such a good movie. It was great.
Yeah, it was so good.
It's just so tense, and the tension still works. It's like it's amazing that me as a jaded reader, I can watch this and still go, "Oh man, this is exciting."
When I would think after Avengers, how good that was with all these stars, that there's no way this can hold up, and it's better, kind of, if possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different kind. It's a way to pull it back a little bit. Like, all right, we've had our crazy space invasion. Let's humanize shit a little bit more. Like they did. Iron Man 3 is all about PTSD after alien invasion shit.
Yeah.
And Thor: The Dark World is, Thor: The Dark World. And then this is kind of brings Captain America. All right, Captain America is dealing with Earth now. Like the first thing he did after waking up is fight aliens.
Right.
And now
he's
got to deal
settling
with
into his life,
like the reality of intergovernmental paramilitary bullshit.
Right. And if he wants to continue to deal with it.
Right.
So do you guys remember seeing this post-credit scene and being like, oh, it's Wanda and Pietro, and like being all excited, like you knew who they were?
Yeah. And we were curious because
because knowing you nerds, you were at some movie theater with somebody who wasn't as big a nerd as you guys. So
like you probably said, like a slander. No one nerds.
Well, I mean, you guys were probably having to tell people who that was, right? I'm guessing. Like Tiffany's always telling in your scenarios, you're always telling a theater full of people what's going on.
No, this Marvel is something I do with my children who.
Oh, right. Your children know.
And 14 at the time. And also my oldest is very much like an Andy. So I wouldn't have thing. So I mean, that's the world he lives in.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, that's
pretty hardcore. So for me, I tend to go. The only time I've had to like say anything to people post credit was when I went to see Black Panther, and I went by myself because my kids are on. And I was sitting down waiting, and these ladies started to get up, and they looked at me and they were like, if she's waiting, we should wait. And I was like, you should wait. Should. And that's the only time I've ever had to like, no, you should totally sit down, like stay seated.
But Arthur, you got a nerd boner when you saw Wanda and Pietro?
That's a weird misconception you have about nerds, Joe. Like not all nerds get boners on nerd shit. And if you listen to me, you would know that that's something that I won't say I have a problem with. I wouldn't openly admit just because I'm a nerd, but I don't want to be that nerdy to the point where like certain shit gives me a boner, because then I feel like, where's my life really at?
He wouldn't have had one, because just like he told us 10 minutes ago, he would have been like, I don't give a crap about this. That's how he walked out of it. No big freaking deal. That's art.
Right.
And again, he keeps bringing up Rule 34. So
Awesome.
maybe
I
he
do.
gets his
I do
boners
rule
elsewhere.
30. I do Rule 34 for Joe. For Joe, it's
For
all
my
for,
entertainment.
This is for Joe. I know how much. I know how much Joe loves.
You two
wiener
together
chicken.
are a dangerous combination. It's dangerous.
Joe loves wieners.
Boing. No, I feel like every time I've stayed in a movie and seen the post credits, and there's all kinds of boings.
Yeah, it's like everyone's like, oh,
But you did get a dude boner.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
I've
You were
been
like,
I've been
yeah.
in theaters when stuff like that happens, and you have like a group of people. They end up clapping, and it's almost like, okay, they get it. But then were they clapping because the movie was good, or they clapping because they seen this this mid-credit scene that was like, oh shit kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
I just love that feeling when you leave this post credit season, you hear nerds explaining to not as nerdy people or people who don't know. Oh, that's so and so and that's so and so. And this is kind of why I want to start this podcast, is that when I saw stuff like that, I have to call Andy wherever I was. Any movie I've seen of these, I had to call Andy, be like, okay, what's this supposed to be? And he'd explain it to me.
Yeah.
Like, who's this? Who? I would not have had any idea who those two were. And so I would have had to ask Andy, and you would be like, oh, that's Scarlet Witch.
but when you watched it this time, were you able to figure out who they were?
I knew who she was, and yeah, I figured out who he was based on, because I knew who she was, and because he was running around hitting the wall. But I didn't remember his name was Quicksilver. I thought it was
the wizard.
Zippy guy.
I thought it was Zippy guy.
Pietro
Pietro Maximoff,
yeah.
who was technically sort of in WandaVision.
I remember Quicksilver from Hero Clicks when you taught me how to play Hero Clicks.
Yeah,
he was
right.
like the fast guy, like the Flash.
And it's kind of appropriate that these two were introduced in the Captain America movie, because there was an era of Avengers early on when most of the core dudes left, and all that was left was Captain America, Hawkeye, Scarlet Witch, and Quicksilver. And they called it Cap's Kooky Quartet for a while, because this was still in the 60s.
Yeah.
But it was and they were at the time, Wanda and Quicksilver were recently of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. They were the children of Magneto.
Right.
So they were just recently reformed bad guys that nobody trusted, but Captain America was going to give them a chance and try to.
Well, yeah, they're
control them.
Magneto's kids, are they supposed to be, right?
Yeah, and since at this point Marvel didn't have the rights to the X-Men movies,
So they didn't do
They had
that.
to introduce them in a different way, and this is still a way to keep them like, oh, they are, they're part of a terrorist organization, and they're going to need to do some reforming to become the heroes they're eventually going to be. But
Does Marvel still not have the rights to the X-Men, or do they have
they
it
do
now?
now, but they have not introduced the X-Men, and it's a big nerd curiosity. All right, how are you going to bring the X-Men into the MCU?
Well, supposedly in Multitude of Madness, they've been talking. Maybe we might get mention of like X-Men or maybe Fantastic Four in it.
What's Multitude of Madness?
Doctor Strange too.
Multiverse of Madness.
That's the next Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I was talking to
That's the
Josh
next
about it
season.
yesterday, and I was saying, like, I feel like some of the stuff that's been happening in these shows, and in the fact that like they pushed back Doctor Strange 2 and they did a lot of reshoots. I feel it could be just like they're going to do something stupid. I don't want to say stupid because I did come back and say it was a little bit better than I thought it was before, but it could be like the reshoot might end up being something sort of like how at the end of Hawkeye we got Rogers the musical. They might have reshot something in this, and it probably just did something maybe that kind of loosely came out of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So who knows? Who knows what Marvel has up their sleeve?
Well, I learned a lot this episode. I learned all about a hate monger. I learned the Secret Empire. I learned about Crossbones, a little bit more about the swordsman. Who was the other guy that ran me swordsman that we talked about at the beginning? Batroc. You talked about
Batroc the Leaper.
Yeah, the Batroc the Leaper.
Oh.
I learned about Anthony and Joe Russo, which and one other thing, like these.
Yeah, so Joe Russo was the one who was the doctor in the movie.
Joe Russo, Anthony's. So, like I mentioned a little bit briefly in a couple of the other episodes. Like I want to start watching directors and see if I can notice a difference.
Tracking the directors.
Something the same. Like I want to watch something one of these Marvel people directed that's not a Marvel thing. Do I notice anything the same or at all? Just kind of like the drummers, like Van Halen and whoever. Do I notice the drummer? I don't know. And so I watched Bert and Birdie. We talked about directed some of the Hawkeye. And so I found this movie called Troop Zero. You ever heard of this, TBJ? I think you should like. It's about Girl Scouts.
With that one chick from what's her name?
Who's in it?
Troop Zero.
It's not Shelley.
For some reason,
Viola Davis.
Oh, it was on Netflix a couple years, like not last year, but the year before.
I don't know. It's on Amazon Prime now.
Yeah,
is it Amazon?
And it's
2019. I did watch it. I did like it.
It was pretty good. It was a heartwarming thing. I gotta be honest. I got teary a little bit. It was funny at times. There's a lot of pee in their pants and stuff. And but
it's like a little girl, young girls, but also buddy film. With
this little girl is a misfit, and she has to put together her own Girl Scout troop full of misfits, and they're like picked on and bullied. And Viola Davis is kind of the leader. She didn't want to be
de facto leader, only because she works for like the girl.
Yeah, she's great.
It's like her mother figure by default.
Yeah, she was good. And Jim Gaffigan's in it. Anyway, it was directed by Bert and Birdie. I want to see do I see any parallels to Hawkeye? Do I recognize this work? And I will say I do not at all. There's nothing. There's nothing.
Yes, because the world doesn't work like the Joe-verse.
It doesn't
in Joe-verse world, they would all link. They would give you a.
Yeah, I want them to just give me that feel. Does this have that Hawkeye feel? No, it didn't.
No, because they're gonna go with how the script played out.
But I still
good directing, but you're not gonna get the same.
I still maintain the gal who wrote that macaroni scene or that episode, the Ronin episode with the macaroni scene. She must be a genius, and I'm still gonna find everything she's written.
Good writing is quality writing.
On IMDb, there's only like 3 things she's written, so I'm gonna watch all of those.
Maybe that'll change now.
And then I want to contact her and tell her she's great. But you can't find writers anywhere. Like there's no picture of her. There's no background on her. Like nobody cares about the writers.
They're not the famous ones. Yeah.
I think people do care about writers. Just like a lot of them aren't as mainstream. Like there have been like in recent years, there have been a lot of great literary writers writing comics.
Yeah.
You know?
I guess you guys do. You guys like colorists, for God's sakes. I don't know. Yeah, so anyway, that's anybody else have anything else to say? I gotta find this.
This is a great movie. I really enjoy watching it every time I watch it.
Oh, Jenna Noel Fraser is the writer.
There's like no lulls.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's very tight.
It was
intense. It's
everything
is interesting.
I didn't get bored. I didn't look at my clock and go, "Oh, is it almost yet?" Because I'm gonna be honest. There's some that they have good parts, but I still am like, if it's over 2 hours, stop. And my brain just doesn't love long movies. But I did not think about time watching this one. I just watched it completely engrossed in the whole thing. So or I guess we used to do stars. Did we stop doing stars, y'all?
I don't know if we do stars, thumbs up. We kind of stopped doing any of that.
All of the above from Tiffany.
In Joe's world, it would be like, how many nerd boners did you give this movie?
Yeah, Art. How many nerd boners, Art? Out of 15,000 nerd boners, how many did you give it?
14,837.
That's a lot of nerd boners.
Lord help us.
Would you, like nerd boners or nerdgasms? What's the better term?
Oh, nerdgasm.
Lord have mercy. We are going way off.
Nerdgasm.
Bring it back.
Well, that could be instead of Excelsior.
No, I'm not doing that.
Nerd splooge.
Oh, if you ever hear that word come out of my mouth, I have been cloned or has me at gunpoint.
Nerd-tastic.
I can't imagine TBJ ever saying the word splooge.
Yeah. Again, if you hear me
I don't feel comfortable having.
How about nerd explosion?
No,
nerd explosion is okay. It
depends on the context in which it's being said.
If you say, "Did your nerd boner have a nerd explosion?"
Then that's a no.
That gets dirty. That's dirty.
Listen, guys, I got future Oprah goals. I got to keep it clean.
That's true. That's true. Oprah.
I can't be your next Oprah, and then someone
You get a nerd
clip
boner.
on
You
here.
get a nerd boner.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a nerd boner.
I'm sure.
Nerd boners for everyone.
I'm sure Oprah did things when she was younger she's not proud of.
That's fine, but she wasn't doing things. Oh, she did. She admits to it, but the World Wide Web wasn't posting her, or there's no footage of some of her shenanigans.
But now we're in a different world.
Footage of
Like, they used to say you couldn't inhale. Now Obama inhaled, and that broke the glass ceiling. You can inhale.
well, it's now legal in like so many states.
That's
It's
true.
fine.
But nerd boners are also legal.
I'm not saying it.
You're not saying it?
Nope. I'm gonna leave that to you guys.
Nerd excitement. Nerd.
You just keep. I'm later nerds. I always reference nerds. I said Happy New Year's, nerds today. Like I reference our
Happy New Year.
Yeah. It's our first
at all times.
podcast of the new year.
That's right.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Those of you who thought we'd quit, guess what? We are too legit.
We're still in these streets.
We're in these streets.
Still out in these streets. Getting
Still
it done.
busting off nerd shots.
Oh Lord. And
All right. I feel gross.
and then you went somewhere else.
Let's go.
Anybody else? That's it. That's the
That's
end
it.
of it.
That's it.
No more.
Yep.
All right.
Later, nerds.
Word up. I'll check you
They say I can't rap about the president no more, but evidently they don't see we in the streets still poor. Still more incarceration of my kinsmen by the prisons, and people thinking this election to end racism. Proud over pessimism, glad to see Obama, but don't expect me not to speak out when I still see problems.
The Nerd School Podcast.
Nerd School is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network, powered by Ortho Carolina. Now offering video visits so you can take control of your orthopedic care from the comfort of your home. Schedule online at orthocarolina.com. Ortho Carolina, you improved.
Listen, people can make fun of me for my holiday movies all we want to, but I'm like, are you alive? Did I fuss at you today? Did I yell about anything? All right, then. You're welcome. You better thank Hallmark for keeping me safe.